Hey everybody, it's Jeff here with Entrepreneur Essentials once again here at T-Werx, and thanks for tuning in once again. Right down below me is our subscription button. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel because you are never going to know when this comes out or when these videos come out if you don't subscribe to the channel. And then you have somebody crazy like this who's sitting next to me, my friend Jack Stanley.
Jeff.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
This is going to be a crazy ride, I can tell already. It's already been before we even turned the cameras on. Jack is a member here at T-Werx, has been almost since the very beginning. Usually if somebody's new coming into the space, Jack is always here and will say something completely off the wall and crazy, and if people come back after that, we know they're a perfect fit for the space. So Jack is my litmus test. So Jack, let's talk about your entrepreneurial journey. How did you start?
Well, I started sort of by accident. I was in graduate school and I studied psychology. And in that world at that time, there was a lot of places for a psychology degree, even a master's degree to work. So I wound up getting in sales sort of by accident. Someone introduced me to something called Shackley. And I started studying sales and I thought, this is pretty interesting. And I went from there to a job selling cars for 1 year. So yes, I had been a car salesman. And from there, I got a job with a company called Kikel. I was with them for about 12 years. They are a large Fortune 300 company at this point, and they sell cleaning supplies to schools, nursing homes, hospitals, restaurants. When I started with them, though, they were only a Fortune 500 company. So by the time I left, they were Fortune 300. I had very little to do with that, though. So I just wanted to point that out.
I thought you killed bugs for a living. Didn't know.
Oh no, that's pest elimination.
Oh, okay. Yep. Totally different one.
Too much bad stuff there. So when I left Ecolab, I actually had a daughter. Her name was Emily. She had some difficulty learning early on, and the school told me she needed to be taught to live without reading, without doing math, and how to live with effectively a lifelong educational change so she could live without having certain skills because she was never going to learn them. She didn't have a low IQ, but she had a learning problem and she had a seizure disorder. I didn't agree with that, so I started researching what was available. We tried several things over a couple of years, and I found out that the Sylvan Learning Center 100 miles away actually was making progress with the schools had not been able to make. I saw that and I thought, I gotta get me one of those. So I opened a Sylvan in Cape Girardeau, Missouri as a franchisee, and for 15 years owned and operated Sylvan Learning Center. I had 1, then 2, then 3, then 6, then 10, and we had 10 centers for about 15 years. Learned a lot about business in that season. I went from being a salesman to a business owner, and that's a whole different process. Had 180 employees. And we did that well for 13 of the 15 years. We actually made money. Things did okay. We helped literally thousands of kids learn how to have skills to read, write, to think. And my own daughter finished high school with the C grade average, and she's finished college with a 3.4 grade average. So I think she's learned to read, and there were no deviations in her classes. She actually reads. She is a master at household budgeting and managing money. She does more on a small amount of money sometimes than you would ever dream someone could do. So she was a success and had thousands of other successes during the season. Business is good when it's going well. And I remember a guy in Columbia, Missouri that started his business, and he wrote a book about it. He had a medical recruiting business. He recruited doctors. He did extremely well, sold it for 7 years, and became a multimillionaire because he sold his business for a lot of money. And he wrote a book about how he had the Shafizzle, etc. What I found in business is you can do very well, even for a pretty long period of time, and then things can go crazy. And things did go crazy. And about 12 years in, I started seeing a decline across 10 centers in 3 states. And I started talking to other franchisees. I was on the Franchise Association board at the time, and we're seeing a general decline in business. And then in 2000, late 2007, early 8, it started slowing down even more directly. And then by mid 8, it was slowing down. It's more like a free fall than a slowdown. We lost 65% of our volume in less than a year. And that was my centers, and the average Sylvans across the country lost about the same. It was devastating. So mistakes? Oh, mistakes. I held on too long. I held to the management model that Sylvan dictated. That was absolutely the wrong management model for the timing that we were in. I should have more boldly changed that. I did boldly get school of contracts, and that gave me some flexibility I wouldn't have had otherwise. But I needed to move things faster than I did. So not responding to the market conditions rapidly enough actually hurt. About 2008, late 2008, Sylvan Corporate changed ownership, and they changed management. The new management didn't appreciate that I'd always paid everything on time until the last couple of months, and I owed them some money. And they said, we're going to foreclose on you if you don't do certain things. And I couldn't do those. My attorney's advice was don't, because it was not the proper way to do things. So I didn't. So I wound up having to close the centers. That timing was probably one of my biggest growth seasons. I had a big growth season when we went from 3 to 5 and 7 to 10 centers, because those were different management styles. You had to learn about management there. There's a whole host of books I would recommend that people read going through that. And then when things start falling apart, there's another growth season where actually every sinew of your body, mind, heart, and soul is strained. I had a plan, because I always did a pro forma every year. I knew that there's a chance 2 years before we did that we might have to close the centers. So I had a plan for 2 years to close the centers, have them barely make it, and have them succeed. I had a three-tiered plan. So I actually sought legal help early. I didn't wait to the last moment. So I had some time to make a plan. When I started taking the even further downward track and then still accelerating it, I started planning more intensely. So I went into the season with a plan. I also went in with a team. I got some advisors. Am I doing okay?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. I got some advisors. Just checking to make sure you had any questions. I found a really good attorney. I used the same attorney that Walmart Corporation used, because I knew I was dealing with some people, some rather big time attorneys on the East Coast on the other side. And then I also got connected with a friend of mine who was also a pastor. I needed advice, because decisions, you think all these decisions are black and white. There are some gray. I needed advice on the gray, because I need to know how to work within my belief system, and I need to know how to work within what I wanted to accomplish, and I need to know how to feel like I had good conscience when I walked out of it. And then I had a couple other friends that did some advising. Challenging season, to say the least. I managed through that season very well, came out unscathed, and immediately went back to work. Had no problems whatsoever, and none of that's true. I made it through that season, actually managed things well, and virtually everyone that I owed money to, except Sylvan Corporate, got their payment. So we were able to manage that okay. I was sort of a basket case for about a year. I did little odds and end repair work for the next year, and just really was between being angry and depressed. I was a little bit of both. Right after that, I became a real estate agent, and actually my wife was already a real estate agent, so I competed with her and her team in Columbia, her partner, and so we were competitors, and that was always that was an interesting season. And then, but moved to Austin, Texas a little bit after that, got involved in real estate here. So I'm a real estate agent. I was doing much better, had put myself back together, lots of prayer, lots of stuff, and things started fitting back together. Still had some frustration at a deep level, and wound up going to a Tony Robbins event. Now, I've always worked with men and celebrate recovery, or some form of recovery. I've done that for a long, long time. I've never been an addict, but I seem to understand that thinking. Maybe I could be a good one if I tried, I don't know. But
I can't believe you said that.
well, I just haven't tried. So,
Just never did attempt it.
So, but I've done that for years, but that wasn't enough to figure it out. And then this gets a little religious, so you can get over it. I had people say, just turn this over to God, and I'm going, how do you do that when I'm getting the phone calls from people that are upset about things? So I had to get some better understanding. And my wife wanted to go to this Tony Robbins event called Unleash the Power Within. And I said, nah. And they walk on hot coals that event. I said, that's BS, I'm not doing it. So I went there, and I get there, people are jumping up and down, they're moving around, they're being very animated. And I said, this is interesting, and within about an hour or so, I'm jumping up and down, being very animated. And I learned some tools there. People tell you in your life, go think this way, change your thinking, have a better attitude. The how to do that was always a challenge, because there's no really direct tools. And I learned stuff in that weekend that totally changed the way I looked at stuff. Now, how much did it change? I came back and increased my sales revenue 80% in the next 12 months. It was a dynamic change, not just in sales, but in my personal life. Totally changed the relationship with my wife, and I was back on track again. So it fired up the real estate side of what I was doing. I've always enjoyed helping people. So as I got more involved in this, I actually have started coaching people about how to create personal change. So now I do two things. I'm a real estate agent full-time. I'm a licensed broker in the state of Texas, and I am very actively involved full-time engaging people in real estate. I enjoy that part a great deal. I also work with people that are looking how to change their lives, how to stop stumbling over their own thoughts and move forward, and I have some very dynamic tools. I help people with doing that. It's like I have this dual thing. Of course, most people know I'm a split personality, so I'm able to do both very well, move from one to the other. But that's sort of what I'm doing at this point. I know you only got one question in so far. What other questions do you have?
Well, you already filled up most of what I would normally ask. So what's new in your world right now?
Well, the new things in real estate is the broker's license.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that was what, 2 weeks ago?
Yep, and
Okay.
so I did that. I still stay with the brokerage I'm with, but I'm probably going to be starting a property management piece to what I do. And then we're looking at growing our team a little more because we have a couple people on the team now. We need a few more people. So I'm looking at that piece very hard. And then the other thing I'm doing is I'm offering some coaching and some classes for people to help them create change in their lives. And that piece I'm beginning to charge some money for, and I'm seeing some very interesting results. It's very, very much fun to do. So I have a class called Tools for Transformation, for example, that I teach actually right here at T-Werx.
In this very room, by the way.
In this very room. The fee for the class is about $150. It includes lunch and dinner. It's a one-day, long day class. I won't tell you how long, you just have to come and see. And then in real estate, I work with people on how to get the most money for their house. We actually really do that. I was looking at a presentation the other day from a realtor. She had lived in a house I was buying, and she had suggested they price their house 15%, 15% under the market value, so they would get multiple offers. We bought it for 15% under the market value. With my client and I did, and I actually know to carry her listings around because we can usually buy them cheaper.
Yes.
And
Follow her around and you're good.
So
yeah.
if you want somebody to go price your house at the market and get what you should be getting for it, that's me. If you want some people that will get you to price it under market so they can sell it quickly, I can introduce you to them. I won't mention the names here. So it depends on what you want for your house. So I take a lot of pride in doing what I do very well, representing my clients very well, and being most direct about getting to the end that my client wants to achieve, whether they're buyers or sellers. And I do the same thing when I'm coaching. I very, very much take it very seriously that I'm going to deliver a result. Do I do it without humor? No, I often do it with humor. In fact, I offered to be a woman representing the ugly woman groups, ugly women of America. I was going to put a scarf on and be an ugly woman for the day. But Jeff didn't think that was the right approach for this video. So whether I'm Jack Stanley or the
I would
ugly
never put my foot on the throat of Jack Stanley and stop him from doing that. No, that would never happen. Nor would I ever be able to if I had.
So-
all right, Jack. Last 5 questions now.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning. Your business is gone. $500 in your pocket. Laptop, computer, place to live. What do you do first?
Well, first thing I'm going to do is some incantations. And no, I'm not a witch.
Okay.
Okay. I would go through some things and change my physiology. I would shake my body out. I would make some power moves. I would get my body flowing. And then I would say some things like, I am the voice. I will lead, not follow. I will believe, not doubt. I'll create, not destroy. I am a force for good. I am a force for God. I'm a leader. I defy the odds. I set a new standard, and I step up. It's something I learned from Tony Robbins. And it really can move you forward. So first, I get my mind in the right state. And then I can do lots of things. I grew up as a plumber, son. I know plumbing, heating, and cooling. I can do photography. I can do coaching. I can mow lawns. So far, nothing's worn out where I can't. I can know business. I know management. So I would say, okay, which one of these things is hiring? And I would go out and find something to do. If not, I would create something. In every environment, I believe there's an answer that you can go create some income. It may not be an easy answer. It may be a tough environment to create it, but there's opportunities. Even during the Depression, there were people who became millionaires and multimillionaires even during the Depression of the 1930s. So I think there's opportunity. I would have to go find the opportunity. First thing is get my mind, my body, and my heart in the right place.
So is there a good book? Because you already covered usually the second question, which was biggest mistake, and you really covered that at the beginning. What's a good book that you'd recommend?
Well, if you're in business and you're early on, I'd recommend The E-Myth by Gerber. I'd recommend Good to Great. I would recommend Waiting for Your Cat to Bark when it comes to advertising. It's a great book. There are some more current. There's some other books around that are really good. The Blue Ocean Strategy is an excellent book in understanding some things. When you're talking about personal change, then it gets a little more. I get a little more eclectic, a little more specific. There's not a lot of books that I look at. I like a lot of Tony's books. I like books, some of the older stuff. I like The Strangest Secret, which is not a book but a videotape by Earl Nightingale. I don't like the ones where there's a lot of fluff. I like it where it's down to earth and pretty intense. I like, I'll think of it in a minute. It's a book that almost everybody reads. It's about 40 or 50 years old, and it's about general success. And the name totally escapes me, but most people read it. I also like Og Mandino's books. I like The Greatest Salesman in the World, The Greatest Miracle in the World. Those books, they have a really good message behind them. So I don't read a lot of fiction. I do enjoy The Big Lebowski, however, the movie, but I don't read a lot of fiction.
You're one of the 4 people that does. I still don't understand that movie. What's a good tool that you use in your business every day?
The questions that I ask. The questions I ask myself is, when I work with someone, is what does this person need? How can I deliver my services to them in a way that helps them the most? How can I build a relationship with them that opens the doors for them to have what they want? How can I help them understand if their expectations are unrealistic? But how can I help? How can I move that person forward? I visualize when I work with somebody at any level, not that I am coming to them with great, wonderful knowledge and inspiration, but I'm coming along to them like two ships. If I hit them head on, we crash and sink. If I come alongside, then we can lead into each other and move each other back and forth as we interact, as I learn from them, as they learn from me. And in that movement, we actually both become different people.
Very nice.
So,
geez, that was awful deep. How does somebody get a hold of you?
Well, call me, 512-269-8023. Email me at jack@jackstanley.com. Yell real loud, I might hear you.
Show up at T-Werx, and he'll probably be here when you show up.
Show up at T-Werx and pretend you want to join. I'll definitely be doing that.
Definitely be here. And somewhere in that initial conversation with you, the words belly dancing will come out someplace.
Oh, do you have time for a belly dancing story?
We went through this whole interview and you never said anything about belly dancing.
Well, people ask me what I'm doing, what do you do for a living? I'll usually tell them I'm belly dancing. That came out when my centers were failing. I walked into church one day and one of the pastors said, "So, Jack, what are you doing next?" And everybody's asking me that. And the real answer is, I freaking didn't know. I'm just trying to get through today. So I said, I just got a job belly dancing at the local strip club. And he goes, "Well, how's that working for you?" I said, "Well, not too good." And he said, "Why?" I said, "Well, I started belly dancing. The ladies come in off the riverboat. They put quarters in my shorts. I have to wear more suspenders to hold them up because I can't show everything, you know. And so I got so many suspenders on, I'm not showing enough skin. I'm about to get fired because I'm not showing enough skin." And his response is, "You just made all that up just then, didn't you?" I said, "Yes, I did."
Yes, sir.
So So since then, if someone asks me what my job is, my first response usually is that I'm a belly dancer.
Perfect explain. Perfect explanation. So Jack, thank you.
Thank you.
As always, my friend. Guys, this is one of the best real estate agents you're going to meet. He is the most caring person I've ever met. He will look right through your BS when you talk to him, and fill you full of BS on top of it.
I will not sniff it though.
Yes. But thank you very much. Thanks for being on here as always, guys. Please make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you know when these things come out, because you never know when Jack might just pop into another interview and belly dance on the screen. So you got to make sure that you catch all of them. Thanks again. We'll see you here next week.